So hi everybody, welcome to my session about developer productivity ETA. And my name is Ori Karen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Linear B. You probably saw me, hopefully you saw me in the developer experience session that we had before. And I'll do a quick intro about myself. I checked out the math, and apparently I wrote my first program in BASIC 35 years ago. Um, it was on a simple Spectrum 48 theorem, and I have this habit of doing an homage for this piece of art every session that I do. But moving forward, I was a developer, a team leader, and I was twice head of engineering in companies that grew fast. And in 2019, I started Linear B with my partner, Dan Lyons, with a lot of passion to the topics that we're discussing today. Dev productivity, how does it look from a developer's perspective, from leader's perspective? So that's the quick intro about myself. I want to jump and say that we have a great opportunity because we're on the close to like an age where sort of a utopia or an ideal situation where C-level execs will kind of understand R&D metrics, health, and investment decisions. Um, and new features, they will never ship right on time, but they will ship very close to the time we promised them as engineering leaders, and not like, missed by 50%, like a lot of the times it happens today. And also very important, developer happiness and productivity could be at a all-time high. And this ideal picture, I want to talk to you about how we get there. But before we get there, I want to paint a picture of where we are right now. So we are here at this point, and it's 2022. We're after like amazing progress in the software industry with Agile Manifesto 20 years ago, and then the DevOps movement, and now the Dora metrics and all the things that are driving developer productivity. But we're in interesting times because the macroeconomics and the slowdown that we're seeing, I'm seeing some vendors and some companies um, um, regressing to some things that we already learned as an industry that are not the right stuff. So stack ranking developers, measuring their individual metrics and not the right one, like how many lines of code, commits, etc. Putting a competitive culture into R&D, which is a team sports, and again, I'm not blaming. A lot of this is coming from the pressure that is starting to be applied. And as an industry, we should pay attention and not go to that path and move to the golden age, which is closed, where we're focusing on developer experience. You heard it a lot, like in Interact, and you heard it more. We're focusing on tempo. I like the word tempo, which is like flow metrics and the cadence in which our R&D organization move. And also on business alignment, you got to have all three of them, and we're going to discuss them very soon. The real question, the important question is, how do we make the right decisions so we're not regressing back like we saw in the nice sketch, but we're moving towards that golden age? And in order to answer this question, I kind of want to move um, to an analogy to how it worked in sales. In 2004, when Tesla IPO, um, and before it started taking off, it's catching, very, very aggressively. There was those myths that were in the air. I remember it because back in the time, CRMs were more like, you know, for IT, they were like on-prem, and they were more about like the compliance side of like the sales and not the efficiency side of sales. But when Salesforce started to catch, people said, no, sales is an art. You can't measure it. Or, Salesforce could be a big brother, and it's not the right culture. And the bottom line is the only metric that matters. So it sounds very familiar for people who are in the dev productivity business. The third one is like, there's no one single metric for a development, but other than that, it's very, very similar. And another interesting thing is that, at the beginning, Salesforce and, the cloud-based CRMs focused on visibility for leaders. So let me see my funnel, right? Leads, ops, customers. That's very important for leaders to kind of like map, where they have bottlenecks, very similar to engineering. And yeah, it started moving the needle, but it didn't got to the same productivity pace that it is today. And it only happened once the people who are doing the actual work, the reps, the sales reps, and the sales managers got value. They got improved workflows regarding their contacts and their opportunities, and some day-to-day automations that help them get the productivity gains. Once you get both of these, sales productivity increased and skyrocketed. And a lot of this, by the way, grew out of the crisis that was in 2008. So there's a lot of similarity to what's happening right now. Now, moving back to software engineering in 2022 and even in 2019, where companies like Linear B started to evolve and say, let's start the same way. The natural way is to start with visibility for leaders. So we started measuring things like DORA metrics, which DORA made like a revolution in this space, like, right? Kind of standardize the thing that we should be measuring and other metrics that you see here. And it started good because again, going from darkness to visibility is important, but we didn't see like the same leap that we saw in Salesforce once the right moves were made, and we're starting to see them now. And the reason we're starting to see them now is that some vendors understand it and they're focusing on also improving the workflows. So on the visibility for leaders, they have focused on lead type of changes, merge frequency, investment profile, all those things. But also developers got to enjoy that productivity boost. So developer experience, we talked about that category, but simple things like streamlining code reviews that we already identified here in Interact as the biggest blind spot inside developer experience, automation around tickets. Once this thing, progresses, that's where we'll get like, that's where the ETA for their productivity like will arrive because you have like the complete package. And what is the ETA? When we say ETA, of course, every developer knows it. We've been asked thousands of times, what's the ETA on that task? So it means what's the estimated time of arrival, but it also helps like to kind of break down the three pillars that we need to have in a successful dev productivity metric program. So the three pillars are experience, tempo, and alignment. And we're going to talk about what they are right now. Experience is developer experience. We talked about it right now. It's as simple as how simple it is for a developer to complete a task, to test something, to deploy something, to get, of course, code merged. So it's about that. Yeah, in terms of like the true action, it's also about measuring empiric metrics like burnout, merge frequency. Servers also play a good role in that. So this is developer experience, the E in ETA that you gotta have. You also have gotta answer like the tempo questions or the flow metrics. And we have Patrick, our VP of R&D here, the persona. For Patrick, it's about focusing on DORA metrics. PR size, we keep on saying that PR size is like the leading indicator to optimizing all of those DORA metrics. Workflow automation. So VP R&D, their role is like to look at a high level and kind of say, where are the bottlenecks? That's and to make sure that the cadence and the tempo is good for the R&D organization. And that's not an easy task, and it is an important layer for the productivity. Last but not least, we have Deborah here. She could be a CTO or founder or a CEO. And for C levels, it's about the alignment between what engineering is doing to the business. So what are the value streams? What are the investment streams that we are working on? Because sometimes the business needs like to look at it and take decisions and maybe change the priorities. So we got to get all the data surfaced so we can have those smart conversations and take hopefully smart decisions on changing them. So the flexibility and the elasticity and being able to change the priorities is what's important for the business, or at least seeing it, right? And being able to forecast on projects. So these are three different like perspectives of what their productivity is, and we'll get there if we have all three of them. And in the next 2 minutes, I want to talk to you about what's going to happen to us if we're losing or missing one of these layers. So let's start with experience if we don't have developer experience. And yeah, some of the VSM implementations and engineering efficiency implementations are exactly taking this approach. And what's happening there is that you don't get a buy-in from developers. So yeah, managers kind of know where the bottlenecks are. Maybe we're even aligned with the business, which is great, but there's no improvement because the people who are doing the actual work are not getting productivity gains, and they're not bought in to this effort. So if you're missing the developer experience piece, you won't be able like to have true improvement. What happens if you're missing the tempo? It's also important because engineering leaders, their role is to look on what their organization, what's happening in their organization, and at a high level spot bottlenecks and run initiatives to fix them, right? Um, we've seen organizations improve lead time for changes, cycle time, CFR until they're all like they can really optimize those, but they gotta have like a high level visibility to seeing it. So if we're missing that piece, yeah, like it's not a complete picture. And again, last but not least, I love this missing the alignment because if you're only focusing on great developer experience, so developers actually love to work, in your company, and as a VP of R&D, you're looking in a high level on where the problems are. But here's the thing: it could be that the business is saying, "Hey, in order to achieve our business goals, and I don't know, like sell more in the next quarter, we got to move north." And we're moving at a perfect cadence, but west. So the alignment piece is also very important. That's why you got to have all three of them so we can get to this golden age of developer productivity. And we'll get there if we'll do the same thing that Salesforce did or other like CRM, cloud-based CRM did, in order to move development into the same digital transformation that sales went through. So visibility for leaders, that's a great start, but also you got to have like the improved workflows for developers, and then we can get to this golden age. Um, this is the end of the short talk that I have. I want to encourage everybody. If you're a developer, if you're still hands-on and you want to check out Gitstream, that focuses on like the biggest blind spot of developer experience, which is how easy it is to merge code. I saw some of the discussions. So, you can code your policy there. You can decide if things are auto approved, or even if you want to be more like to harden the requirements, you can say, you know, two reviewers for specific things, and you can choose the right reviewer. It's a lot of automation that can happen there in order to save time and of course improve the quality of the reviews. So check out Gitstream if you're more into like still hands-on, or if you're an engineering leader and you want to focus on the alignment and the tempo. Check out our core product at linearb.io. And that's it. That's my session for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you enjoyed the rest of Interact.